Welcome to my F1 channel. Welcome to Peter on Pole. My name is Peter. Back in pole position. Drive to Survive. Season 1, Episode 3, Redemption. We kick things off with Christian Horner as they take a clip back to Baku in the previous episode where both the two Red Bull drivers crash into each other, and Christian Horner's sitting in the seat just in like a plain studio with the black background, and yeah, he's not happy. He's expressing his feelings, and already you know, okay, this is where we're kicking things off with. Again, a great choice of title as well. I like the fact that it was called Redemption. And once again, Netflix, with their titles, they've been spot on with this Drive to Survive series so far, because the title means more than one thing. You get a shot of Christian Horner and his wife, Jerry Horner, who is obviously Jerry Spice. What is it? Spice Girls. Yeah, they're married. I mean, that's how I found out that them two were together, because I watched the season when it had come out, and I was like, oh my God, the Spice Girl and Christian Horner? Like, this is so hilarious. Like, it was such a weird combo. But as the series went on, you sort of get used to it. You get, you sort of feel like, yeah, that kind of makes sense, actually. But anyway, they're in their home in Oxfordshire, like by a farm, and they were talking about, they had a little dog who I think got kicked by a donkey, and then the donkeys obviously are from the same farm, and Christian Horner sort of explains that Max Verstappen and Danny Ricciardo are like two donkeys, and he said, matter of fact, it's easier to control two donkeys than it is to have two F1 drivers, which I thought was hilarious. Obviously off the back of the hills once again of the Baku crash. Yeah, Christian Horner was not in the mood, and then the next race being Monaco, it was the big one. It's the one that he wanted to win. And because of Red Bull's car, it kind of suits that track. So I think he was very angry, but very nervous at the same time, thinking, well, we have a race there. And you know what it is? Most of the street circuits suited Red Bull in that season. So Baku was a street circuit, and now Monaco's a street circuit, simply meaning it's done on the streets, like on the roads that people use every day. Just for that weekend, it's catered to Formula One. So yeah, there are such races like that. What's interesting though is that the defense of the accident, obviously Max is in front, Danny's behind, Danny hits into the back of Max, but you sort of think, was Max slowing down on purpose? They were very, very close to each other, and yeah, it was a case of, whenever you're the driver at the back, whoever gets hit in the back, and when you're driving, they're the ones at the back are the ones that are at fault. But it seemed so, there was something about that accident which I still think to this day looks so dodgy, and looks so, not dodgy, but it was just a bit, Max was sort of going to the limits, if you will. But, Danny took the blame. I don't think he felt like he should have. And it all seemed to gear towards Max's defense, which I thought was interesting, because the way, and this isn't just Netflix who were doing this, the way people were speaking was that, this was mainly Danny's fault, which I thought was incredible. You get clips and moments throughout this episode where Christian Horner will drop some one-liners where you think, man, this guy really favors Max over Danny Ricciardo, where, for example, he says, he's walking with Jerry in their near their home, and he says, I really hope Max gets a result at Monaco. I thought, hang on a minute, you've got two drivers there, and surely you shouldn't be choosing your favourites. I mean, yeah, it's just you can just tell this relationship was dodgy from a little while, and later on in the episode you understand a bit more context as well, which is unbelievably strange. You get a good little insight on how drivers sort of negotiate and think about potential moves and transfers to different teams. Danny Ricciardo's contract is up at the end of this season, and so he's speaking, I think is his agent or his advisor, on, let's have a look at the options. Let's see what's there. Let's see what Red Bull are offering. And it seems to be a bit of like, it seems to be a bit of a, I don't know how to put it, but Danny sort of doesn't want to rush. And he's asking, where else are the contracts expiring so that he could potentially move to a seat which is championship material. Because really it's just Red Bull, Ferrari and McLaren and Mercedes that are like the top three that could fight for titles. Red Bull have been a bit off the pace of late, but he's sort of weighing the options out, and I don't think he wants to make a commitment. Red Bull have offered I think a contract on the table. It's just a matter of, will he accept it? That's really the question. We then leave Red Bull for a minute. We move on to the Williams team. Claire Williams, the deputy principal there. And it goes into this story. The Williams story is one of the most fascinating stories in Formula One. Williams have been a fantastic team over the years. I think they had something like 16 championships. They are one of the most decorated teams in Formula One, one of the best. But of late, it's been a horrible, let's say, past decade for them. They hadn't won a race apparently in 6 years at this present time, and it's still going on in 2021 without a win. And it's just you can't quite put your finger on what's gone wrong. There's been multiple factors that have gone wrong. And when Claire took over as deputy, this was around 2013, I think 13, 14, 15, around those seasons. They finished third in the Constructors' Championship. So they were amongst the pack with Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, and so on. But they've fallen away dramatically. And, you know, the way Netflix have put the history together and sort of, you know, it makes you all of a sudden feel sorry for the team for what's happening to them right now. You sort of feel sorry for them. But it's just, you know, nothing seems to improve. Nothing seems to be going well for them. And it seems to be just stress after stress. Poor Claire Williams, you just sort of feel sorry for her straight away. On the other hand, it's amazing to see a woman in Formula One have such a prominent role. I thought it was fantastic, and it gives you like a perspective. It's such a shame because now she's no longer there. But this year, you know, in this season rather, it made me realize, man, you don't know what you've got until it's gone, in a weird way. It's a classic case of, you know what, like, not that you should just stay there just because you're a woman or whatever, but it was just like you didn't, you know, you sort of had to take a seat back and be like, oh my God, you know, Formula One has done some things, you know, in order to try and, you know, expand on diversity and giving opportunities to everybody. Okay, fine. She's the daughter of Sir Frank Williams, who is the main guy. So you might say, you know what, yeah, she's got the handout. But she was in the job for a few years and actually for a long period of time. And this team finishing third, you know, under her watch, you know, you sort of have to give credit where it's due. So, yeah, it was just seeing her, I was like, wow, you know, Claire Williams, I totally forgot, like, not totally forgot, but it's just, I forgot how important this was to Formula One, just having her in there as the deputy principal. And then you get the whole montage of, you know, the F1 paddock, and then even, you know, Netflix, the way that they film, the way they document everything on selling Monaco to, say, new fans. Why Monaco Grand Prix is such the most prestigious, it's the most glamorous, the most famous Grand Prix in Formula One history. And it takes you through different scenes. And then you got Christian Horner and different people like that are talking about what it means, why it's so important, why it's so great. And listen, if you've never like watched Formula One, or if you're just watching this for the first time, now you have that in the back of your mind. Okay, Monaco's the big one. And, you know, in some of the shots that they were showing, celebrities galore. I mean, there's celebrities everywhere, you know, from the Kardashians to Hugh Grants. And, you know, there's so many of them that turn up to these races. Tom Brady's throwing the football as well. And it's brilliant stuff. It makes you like want to go there and just be like, I want to experience this. Hella expensive. But nonetheless, I mean, you got to do it once, at least once. One day, I'm gonna be doing a vlog from the Monaco Grand Prix. I'm gonna speak that right now, and hopefully, God willing, I make it there. And I want you guys to join me as well. So you're gonna see all the footage one day, and I'm gonna record it. It's gonna be legit. So we refer back to Red Bull again, and a little more piece to this puzzle in terms of the Max versus Danny sort of thing is Max, being 20 years old, is on a bumper contract. Red Bull had given him, I think 2 years ago, or the year prior of this season, I think it was 2017, they gave him a bumper contract for a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old, well, 19 at the time. A huge contract, to the extent it was bigger than Danny Ricciardo's contract, who, much more mature, I think at the time it would have been about 28, maybe 29, and with wealth of experience. He's got Grand Prix wins under his belt. And yeah, it's weird. Like, I think Danny feels like, right, Max has got the big contract, and the contract you're offering me, even my new contract, is not as big as what Max was given the year prior. So another peel, you know, another layer has sort of been, we're seeing another layer to this relationship between Red Bull, Max, Danny, the whole triangle. You know, it's very, very bizarre because, yes, Max, I mean, for a 19-year-old, 20-year-old, the guy is unbelievable. He's an unbelievable Formula One driver. He's quick. He will become world champion at some stage. But, and I think Red Bull just sort of, yeah, look, let's nail this guy down. Let's keep him in the team. Obviously he comes from F1 royalty with his father, Josh. So Josh, is it Josh? Josh. It's Josh Verstappen. Jos Verstappen. Isn't it Jos? Dutch man them, Belgian man them. Comment below. But yes, so this is where, so you start to wonder, I wonder what this is about. Danny Ricciardo, even in the video, says, Red Bull love a headline. And so to sign this guy on a big pumper contract and then him winning the championship would mean, F1's youngest ever championship winner. He's currently F1's youngest ever race winner. So there's lots to unpack in this story. Bizarre scene. Christian Horner and Danny Ricciardo's dad, that, look, there is no number one driver. Both of them we want. We want them both to succeed well. I want Danny Ricciardo to win a championship in the Red Bull car. But what's bizarre is before he's speaking, or as he's speaking at the very beginning, his eyes are looking at the camera. So you imagine there's a camera like in the background of a conversation, and all the way down across the other room is where the conversation's being had. And you just see this camera, because you can tell the camera is having to go through people in terms of, the shot is through people, and then you focus on the two of Horner and Danny's dad. Horner looks dead on at the camera, right? As if, of course, as if he knew it was there. And then says, there is no number one driver. We want Daniel to win championships in this car. And it was just like, I watched that a few times. I thought, this is eerie. There's something about this. And I don't know how many people have caught up on that, but it was very, very sus. It did look like Christian was just saying it for the camera. The next scenes that follow is that people don't believe him, and nobody believed Red Bull at the time when they were saying there is no number one driver, because it seemed like they put all their chips towards Max Verstappen. And because he was the young talent, he's the young one coming through, he's got bags of pace. And it's not like Danny's old and washed up. It's nowhere near that at all. He was like in the prime, if anything. That's what makes this whole thing a bit weird. The Danny Ricciardo Red Bull situation towards its end is weird. Then Danny Ricciardo sort of narrates over the top, where he says, if Red Bull really want me, put something awesome in front of me and snap me up. And it's that case of, there's that challenge and test for Red Bull to say, look, I get this feeling that he sort of feels like, man, do you lot love me? And I know this is Formula One. It's not emotional. It's not it's not Sentiment FC or anything like that. But it's a case of like, I need to feel like you lot want me. That's what I need to feel. And this is a strange move from Red Bull, because I don't know why they're playing that kind of game. Whether they're trying to save some money, whether they're trying to, this is a rich team. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I didn't quite get it. But Danny's absolutely right. If they want me, put something incredible in front of me and let's do this. And whether it's just a case of, look, we just don't believe Danny's going to be the one. I don't know. I genuinely don't know what happened there. Enter Lance Stroll. This kid, yeah. I totally forgot about his honesty as well as his confidence, like his self-confidence. And, I totally forgot all about this. Williams are in a situation, of course, where if they finish at the end of the season, if they finish on the bottom of the table, let's say, out of the 10 teams, they finish 10th, you get the least amount of money. Now, the Ferraris, the Mercedes, the Red Bulls, they spend in the 300 million mark. And Claire Williams makes the point that Williams spend in like the 150 million pound mark, which, hey, that's a lot of money, but it is a starter in comparison to the other teams. And so if you finish up higher the table, then you get more of the money for the next season. You can improve the car, so on and so forth. So Stroll comes into the picture. His dad, Lance Stroll, is a billionaire. Billionaire? Yeah, he's a billionaire or millionaire. Can't remember. Anyway, he's rich. His money he was pouring into Williams. He said, I'm going to pour into Williams, provided my son can drive in one of your seats out of two. Which Williams, yeah, they said, look, it is what it is. This is the game. This is the business. They've taken the money. They've added Lance Stroll into the car. But it doesn't all go according to plan. So just having the money doesn't necessarily mean you're going to succeed, but you need money to succeed, if that makes sense. And there's something about the honesty in the beginning, which I liked. I liked his honesty. He's like, yeah, you know what? I was given a silver spoon, but so have many drivers, and none of them have been as good as me. Now, it flashes back to the year prior, because this is his second year in Formula One. It goes back to 2017, where he's on the podium. He's been on the front row of the grid after qualifying. So he's actually done well for somebody who, in Formula One, we've had many people who've come in because they've got the money, they've got good backing in terms of financially, and haven't done anything on the track. Lance Stroll actually starts off pretty well in 2017. Very well, in fact. But Williams, man, it's tough. The car is just not good. They just don't have a good car. It's the slowest car on the grid. And when you pump money into it, they've clearly not got the dominoes haven't aligned, if that makes sense. It's a shame, because Williams, you want to see them do well because of the history they've got. They should be in the pack of fighting for championships. Seeing them at the back of the grid is odd. But now, sadly, unfortunately, in 2021, I'm getting used to it. And that's not good, because we haven't seen them at the front since maybe 2016, not even probably 2016, I would say. 2016, 15, I haven't seen them near the front. So I'm getting used to it. I love how everyone involved, whether it's the filmmakers, whether it's the Formula One, universe, the way they picked the picture about Monaco, that you have to, in order to win the Monaco Grand Prix, you have to win in qualifying. It's a street circuit. It's a narrow circuit. If you plant your car in the middle of the track, it is impossible to overtake. So qualifying is where it really counts in terms of, you get yourself in the front row, you've got the chance of winning. If you're third, fourth and fifth, forget about it. You can't win from there. And so that's how intense and tough the circuit is. And so they do so well. I mean, the imagery and the action, the footage that they've got is superb, because it makes you feel like, snap, qualifying is really where the race is at. And before Max Verstappen can even set a qualifying time, he clobbers his car into the barrier. Absolutely. And the thing is, he's flying. He's absolutely flying in his first outlap, not his outlap, but his first flying lap. And it's a shame, because the way that then they talk over it is, he's trying to, shush everybody, like, look, I am the best. Look, I am number one. I am the fastest one out of me and Danny. And whether that was just on his mind too much, young kid, 20 years of age at the time, whether that was playing on his mind, even when you watch the onboard camera of him, you just figured, I could imagine watching this with my partner and she's just wincing, because it's like, oh, it's so tight, the way they go so fast. I mean, all it takes is just a little bit of the tire just to hit one of the corners of the barriers, and it's a mess. But yeah, eventually it happens, and it's one of those where, disaster, and Christian Horner is fuming, because he's thinking, right, well done, you've now messed this up. This is now Baku, and now this. He's not a happy bunny. I feel sorry for the Red Bull mechanics. Why? Because they are always having to deal with the mess that is caused, and it's mainly Max Verstappen, now that I think about it. Or even, the Alex Albons, even Daniel Ricciardo and Baku. But the mechanics are always working overtime. Their contracts must be wealthy. Can any Red Bull mechanic out there, I'm saying, just hit me up an email, show me what your contract is, because I'm sure the P's are high. Yeah, and Stroll had a rubbish qualifying session as well, so sorry. Daniel Ricciardo now gets his chance to do a flying lap in qualifying, and you get this onboard footage, and once again, the skill of an F1 driver, I think, is at its best in a circuit like Monaco, because, my God, Danny's flying on his onboard camera, and, he takes pole, and you just think, flipping out, this guy is quick. Or, the skill, and he's never been world champion. Let's bear this in mind. He's never been world champion, but the way he drove in that qualifying session was just unbelievable. He got on pole, and he knew. He was like, 50% of this job is now done. Let's smash the next 50 in tomorrow's race. Oh, man, epic. And now you wonder, like, has the momentum shift? It was going towards Max, but has the momentum now shifted to Danny? And are Red Bull now starting to think, do we regret giving Max this big bumper contract? Oh, should we be giving it to Danny? It's interesting. Like, the story kind of just, I just love this. Finally, 2016. Now, I was waiting for this, and I was ready to preempt on the video about this, but I thought, you know what, I'll give it a minute. They finally go back to 2016 in the Monaco Grand Prix. Now, this is an epic story, and I'm glad Netflix put some footage together to sort of relay what happened. Danny Ricciardo's in the Red Bull. He's on pole position. He's winning the race in 2016. This is his race, and he's told to go into the pits to change for some new tyres. He gets to the pits, and the mechanics don't have the tyres ready. It is an absolute cluster, and a pit stop that should take 2.5 seconds, and if you're Red Bull, maybe 1.9 seconds, ends up taking like 5-10 seconds. And, I'm talking seconds here, but seconds in Formula One are not a thing to play with. And of course, when Ricciardo leaves the pit lane, Lewis Hamilton overtakes him. He finishes second. Lewis Hamilton wins the race. Danny is fuming. Oh my God, he's fuming. So I don't want to talk about anything. I don't want to think about anything. I just want to get the hell out of here. And you just want to get the hell out of Monaco. And then when they're on the podium standing, you should see the look on Danny Ricciardo's face. It is a picture. My God, he was fuming. And once again, this title redemption, as I was saying, it means something else. You know, there's more layers to the title. Big up Netflix for this. I love it. I'm sure there's many other platforms that do this, but I was in love watching when I saw this. So the race starts. Danny's starting off well. He's doing great. Max Verstappen is piling through the traffic. Because Max Verstappen didn't do a lap time in qualifying, he starts at the back of the grid, but like dust, he just deals with the pack. I think he moves up about good 6, 7, 8 places in the first lap. So he's doing well. Stroll's having an absolute mare. He's not having a good race whatsoever. He's complaining to the team, like, can you just fix it? You know, whether it's the seat, the headrest, it was something wrong with the understeer. There was, mess. Danny Ricciardo comes into the pits. Remember, he's leading the race. He comes into the pits. We're all thinking about 2016 when there was a massive mess up. This time round, they get it done. The tyres are ready. They they put the tyres straight on. Bang, off he goes. And even Danny, as he exits the pit, he's like, woohoo, yes, boys. And I'm thinking, yes, Danny, this is, you can imagine what he was going through those pit lanes. And even the mechanics, you know, those that were doing the tyres, you can imagine how much stress they were feeling as well. But big up to Danny Ricciardo, big up to the Red Bull team in this particular race. Formula 1 is not easy. It's not a simple story in Formula 1. No race day is ever simple, unless you're Lewis Hamilton in a Mercedes, and he tries to make it not simple, but it is simple for him. But Sebastian Vettel says there's something wrong with Danny Ricciardo's car, because Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari is right behind him, and he's thinking, this is weird, I've caught up to Danny Ricciardo. Why? And then Danny Ricciardo then goes on and says, mate, I'm losing power. And it's the MGU, I think it's the MGK unit, sorry, where something's terribly gone wrong. Christian Horner narrates on top, says, look, basically what this means is, like, the engine is basically screwed. It's going to chew up in bits. And 99% of the time, you retire that car. As soon as the MGU goes out, then that's it. That's the end of that. Danny is like, you know, your heart sinks for him, because he thinks and he knows that his race is about to be over. And with a Ferrari and a Sebastian Vettel behind you, it's not a laugh. This is going to take some real desire, like, you know, Alonso, like in that Spanish Grand Prix. Yeah, man, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Christian Horner at one point says, look, we are leading the Monaco Grand Prix. I don't care if the engine blows up. Like, we are winning this race. And so, you know, that determination for Danny to go ahead and win. And Danny even sort of, in the beginning, he's like, I don't know what to do, guys. You know, I'm trying my hardest. You know, the engine's gone. I've got no power. And then he just flips it and he's like, you know, bun it. I could just sit here and complain about it, but it doesn't help the situation. So he starts bringing on the positivity and just says, you know what, we're going to go right until the end. Until the car lets me, we're going to push. We're going to go right to the end. We're going to defend the hell out of this situation, defend against Sebastian Vettel behind him. And like you say, you stick that car in the middle of the track, it's impossible to overtake unless you make a mistake or something like that, or you just completely pack up. So Danny sort of, you know, he just thinks, come on, boys, let's get this over the line. Let's do it. Danny Ricciardo wins the Monaco Grand Prix. He gets there in the end, and you just sort of feel the emotion. Everyone's delighted. Even Christian Horner is delighted. Not that he wouldn't be, but, you know, he is absolutely ecstatic because one of his drivers is at the back. And it's interesting because he mentions, you know, as much as Danny, you know, this is about Danny's victory, but he mentions as well, we should have had 2 cars up there. And I thought, come on, brother, just enjoy the win, brace it in. You know what I mean? You don't get many wins, so just take that. And in Monaco as well, you know, it's one of the most prestigious races, and it just talks about the importance of this race. This race weekend is like the best weekend for Formula 1. For the fan, it's interesting. Unless you're there, like, I don't particularly enjoy the race watching on TV because, like we say, you know, it's a street circuit. There's not a lot of overtaking at all. And yeah, whoever starts on pole usually wins the race. So it's one of those where, you know, it's not that great of a spectacle, but if you're there, it's like you're taken over by what you're seeing, your surroundings. You know, you're in awe of it. But yeah, he's won the race. You know what I'm saying? Just love it. You know, love it, embrace it. That's it. Pans over to Lance Stroll, who's had an absolute shocker, and Claire Williams is sitting there making a decision to herself, thinking, do I think I'm up for this anymore? Do I think I can do this? And that's really telling. That's some serious stuff, that is. But yeah, it's been a very good episode. Danny Ricciardo does win. And there's a shot afterwards as well where Horner is speaking to Max Verstappen saying, look, this is Formula One, you know, you'll be back on front again. You'll be back up there. And I was thinking, is there something sly going on? Then he says, listen, but for today, your teammates won. Be happy for your teammates. Celebrate with him. And he's like, yeah, Max is like, yeah, I will. And then Max kind of has his narration part. And it's like, you know, I'm not happy. You know, I should have won this race. This was my race. And I could go back to the station and just blow everything up. Like, he was like that angry. You feel like this is not the end of this story. There's still to come. There's still some more things to come. Let me know your thoughts below. Let me know what you thought about that episode. Big up to everybody that's been watching these videos lately and been watching and been commenting below. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate the love. You know, more episodes to come, more content to come ahead of the Formula One 2021 season. With that said, people, lights out.